everyone, Coach Heather here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about communication styles and how you are at receiving communication. Maybe ask you to take a moment and join me now to think about what you prefer when you're on the receiving end of communication. I was inspired to make this video and ask you about it when I was having a recent conversation with a new friend, and she was sharing that her direct supervisor, in fact, both of her direct supervisors, are on the more direct side. Meaning, when they give direction, it is clear and it maybe lands a little too direct, I would say, was what she was inferring. And as I listened to that scenario, I actually got excited. I thought, ooh, I'd like to have a supervisor that was really, really clear and direct. Because I used to have a supervisor who was super avoidant. And I found that that was really, really hard to navigate. That I would welcome getting clear, direct feedback and communication because of how hard it was to deal with avoidance. But did you know that there is a spectrum from people who tend to avoid and please and people that are more confront and engage, very direct in their feedback? And that you may have a supervisor that falls somewhere on this spectrum on a regular basis, and you yourself fall somewhere on this spectrum in relationship to communication. So think about it for a second. When you're under stress and pressure, and you need to communicate something to a team member, maybe someone who directly reports to you, do you tend to be more avoidant? Do you soften the information you need to convey? Or do you bring it pretty direct? Where do you think you fall? It's because there isn't necessarily one good way and one bad way. There's just different styles. And one may work more for you than the other. And in certain environments at certain times, one is more called for than the other. I think the main teaching I want to give you is that in business, the good thing is we have business goals we are working towards together. And that is our anchor point. That is why we are having any of the conversations we are having. That is why the communication is happening. And if we remember that and we anchor our conversation there, we can create a lot of safety. And then we want to have clarity. We want to know, why is this being brought forward? In relationship to the bigger picture, how does this fit? So if something is too fuzzy, maybe somebody is trying to be too soft in their communication, you can feel empowered to ask questions to get greater clarity, because you need clarity in order to deliver results. Now, if somebody is too direct all the time and it's coming in a little harsh, maybe that can give you pause and invite you to help slow things down. Because maybe that person is moving too fast under stress and pressure and feeling some strain, and we can have a little compassion for what might be happening there. And we can pause, do our best to not take it personally, and go back again to the business result we're trying to achieve together. See, do we have all the information we need to do our part and get the result? Do we have any remaining questions for clarity? If not, then we would just receive the communication and allow that person to move on, and just know that people communicate on this spectrum, not because of anything aimed at you personally, but because people have different styles of communicating under stress and pressure. and we're all human. And the one thing that is true and unites us all every day, especially in entrepreneurial businesses, is we're doing so much. Often with not enough resources, we're moving really, really fast, and a lot of things are happening. And so things can land maybe a little too directly, or maybe it can be hard to find your boss when you need an answer on something. The most important thing is that we know this is just part of being human and being in business. It's not personal. How can I slow myself down, get myself into self-leadership, remember what my part of the puzzle is here, my relationship to the business goals we're trying to achieve. Am I in self-leadership? Am I good right now? Then I can communicate, get the clarity I need in order to proceed, and I can move forward. I hope this is helpful, and reach out. As always, there's a link below the video to schedule a coaching call with yours truly if you would like additional support. And until then, until the next video, I'm cheering you on.